The massive Imperial warship dropped out of hyperspace near Earth's moon, its dark metal hull gleaming under the distant sun. On Earth's orbital command station, red alerts flashed across every screen as Admiral Marcus Wells stared at the vessel that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. At least, anything they showed to the outside world. "Signal coming in, sir," reported Officer Tom Baker, his fingers dancing across the holographic display. "They're requesting immediate diplomatic contact." Admiral Wells straightened his blue uniform and nodded. At 60 years old, with gray hair and stern features shaped by decades of military service, he had prepared for this moment his entire career. "Put them through on the main screen," he ordered. The screen flickered to life, revealing a tall, humanoid figure with metallic blue skin and elaborate golden armor. The alien's eyes glowed with an unnatural purple light as it looked down at the humans with barely concealed disdain. "I am Commander Ross of the Galactic Imperial Fleet," the alien announced in perfect English, having clearly decoded Earth's languages from their broadcasts. "Your primitive world has been chosen to join our glorious empire. Consider this an honor." Wells kept his face neutral, though his jaw tightened slightly. "Commander Ross, I am Admiral Marcus Wells of the United Earth Defense Force. We welcome peaceful contact with other civilizations, but we are not interested in submission to any empire." Commander Ross laughed, the sound sharp and artificial through the speakers. "You misunderstand, Admiral. This is not a negotiation. We have studied your world for the past year. Your technology is centuries behind ours. Your ships barely reach your own moon. Your weapons are primitive projectiles and chemical explosives. Commander," Wells spoke carefully, "I strongly advise you to reconsider. Humanity has a long history of warfare. We've spent thousands of years fighting amongst ourselves. We know conflict like few others. If you force this issue, we will respond with everything we have." In the background, other officers quietly activated certain hidden protocols. Deep beneath Earth's oceans and underground bases, dormant systems began warming up. Similar activities occurred on Mars and various asteroid bases, all carefully hidden from casual observation. "Are you threatening the mighty Galactic Empire?" Ross's voice dripped with amusement. "Your entire global military would barely match one of our scout ships. But very well. I will give you time to realize your position. You have 30 Earth days to prepare your formal submission. After that, we will demonstrate our power in a way you cannot ignore." Before Wells could respond, the transmission cut off. The Admiral turned to his staff, his expression grim. "Send word to the Council. It's time to activate the Ghost Protocol." In the following days, Earth appeared to be in panic. News of the alien ultimatum spread worldwide, causing apparent chaos in the markets and governments. Military forces mobilized openly, but their movements were clumsy and obvious, exactly what an advanced alien race would expect from a primitive civilization. But deep inside Mount Rainier's secret base, Admiral Wells stood in a vast underground chamber, watching as lights activated on hundreds of sleek, black ships that had never been revealed to the public. Each vessel incorporated technology that humanity had developed in secret over decades, preparing for exactly this scenario. "Status report," he commanded. "Ghost Fleet is at 100% readiness," reported General Lisa Brown, a tough veteran with short gray hair. "Stealth systems are active and undetected by Imperial scans. Mars defense grid is online but dormant. Titan base reports all nanite weapons are primed." Wells nodded, watching as more reports came in from bases throughout the solar system. Humanity had learned long ago to hide its true capabilities. They had developed in secret, building weapons and defenses that combined human ingenuity with recovered alien technology from various crashes over the centuries. "They think we're primitives with chemical rockets," Wells said quietly. "They see our public space program and think that's all we have, just like we planned." "Should we show them our real capabilities now?" Brown asked. Wells shook his head. "No. Let them make the first aggressive move. Let them think they're dealing with helpless primitives. When they strike, he paused, looking at the assembled ghost fleet. When they strike, they'll learn why humanity's art and literature is filled with tales of war. We warned them to run. Their mistake was not listening. The clock was ticking. In 30 days, the Empire would learn the true cost of underestimating humanity. And in the darkness of space, the Ghost Fleet waited, invisible and ready. Exactly 30 days after their ultimatum, the Imperial fleet appeared above Mars. 5 massive warships dropped out of hyperspace, their weapons already charging. Commander Ross stood on his bridge, a cold smile on his metallic blue face as he prepared to teach these primitives their place. "Target the largest Mars colony," he ordered. "Let's show them what happens to those who defy the Empire." The Mars colony of New Hope housed 10,000 civilians, scientists, farmers, and families who had built humanity's first major off-world settlement. As the Imperial ships opened fire, massive energy beams struck the protective domes. The explosions lit up the Martian sky, and within minutes, the colony lay in ruins. Commander Ross recorded a message to Earth. "This is merely a sample of our power. Submit now, or your planet is next." In the Mount Rainier Command Center, Admiral Wells watched the destruction with clenched fists. Around him, his staff remained eerily calm, their training keeping them focused despite their anger. "They killed 10,000 civilians," General Brown reported quietly. "No warning, no chance to evacuate." Wells nodded slowly. "Send our response." On the Imperial flagship's main screen, Wells's face appeared. His expression wasn't one of fear or panic as Ross had expected. Instead, the human admiral looked almost pitying. "You were warned," Wells said simply. "You chose not to listen. You chose to murder innocent civilians. Now you will learn why Earth's history is written in blood." The transmission cut off. Ross laughed. Empty threats from a primitive. His words were cut short as alarms blared throughout his ship. 3 sleek, black vessels seemed to appear from nowhere, their stealth systems dropping just long enough to launch their attacks. Advanced missiles, far beyond what the Empire thought humans capable of, struck with pinpoint accuracy. 2 Imperial warships exploded before they could raise their shields. A third spun helplessly, its engines dead from a precision strike. The remaining ships, including Ross's flagship, frantically tried to target the human vessels, but they had already vanished. "Impossible," Ross shouted. "Their ships. We didn't detect them. Where did they go?" Throughout the solar system, humanity's true military revealed itself. The Ghost Fleet, hundreds of stealth ships hidden in plain sight, began their carefully planned attacks. Armed with weapons that combined human innovation with reversed-engineered alien technology, they struck with devastating effect. On Earth, Wells activated the planet's real defense grid. Thousands of satellites shed their civilian disguises, revealing powerful weapon systems. Anti-ship mines, previously invisible to Imperial scans, activated throughout the solar system's major travel lanes. "Status report," Wells commanded. "Ghost Fleet reports 13 Imperial ships destroyed in the first wave." An officer reported, "No casualties on our side. Stealth systems holding. They still can't track our ships." In space, the battle continued. The Empire's mighty warships found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't see. Human vessels appeared just long enough to strike, then vanished again. Imperial sensors, designed to detect known forms of stealth technology, were useless against Earth's different approach. Inside his damaged flagship, Ross watched in horror as his support fleet was torn apart. "This is impossible. They're primitives. Their ships barely reached their moon." "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "we're detecting more human ships. They're everywhere. Our sensors didn't show them before, but now." The Ghost Fleet dropped their stealth systems in unison, revealing their true numbers. Hundreds of advanced warships surrounded the remaining Imperial vessels. Their black hulls seemed to absorb light itself, a technology the Empire had never seen before. Admiral Wells's voice came through on all Imperial channels. "This is your only warning. Leave our solar system now, or be destroyed. You came here thinking you found easy prey. Instead, you found a species that has spent its entire history preparing for war. We hid our true strength because we learned long ago that appearing weak keeps the arrogant from bothering us. You chose not to heed our warning. This is the result." Ross stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The mighty Imperial fleet, which had conquered 1,000 worlds, was being decimated by a species they had dismissed as primitive. As his flagship limped away into hyperspace, he finally understood. Humanity hadn't been bluffing. They had been waiting. The Empire's fatal mistake was about to cost them everything. Captain Jane Stone stood at the helm of the UES Shadow, one of Earth's most advanced stealth vessels. Her ship, along with 30 others like it, moved silently through the darkness of space. Their mission, to strike fear into the heart of the Empire. "Target spotted," reported First Officer James Reed. "Imperial supply convoy. 6 cargo ships, 2 escort destroyers." Stone smiled. The Empire still hadn't figured out how humans were tracking their ships through hyperspace. They didn't know that Earth had developed sensors that could detect the unique ripple ships made in spacetime, like following footprints in snow. "Battle stations," she ordered. "Remember, quick and clean. Don't let them radio for help." The Shadow and 2 other Ghost Fleet ships appeared suddenly behind the Imperial convoy. Their black hulls, covered in light-absorbing materials, made them look like moving holes in space. Before the Imperial ships could react, precise torpedo strikes disabled their communications arrays. "Enemy escorts turning to engage," Reed reported. "Just as planned," Stone replied. "Launch the drones." Dozens of small, automated craft launched from the human ships. These drones, controlled by advanced AI systems, swarmed the Imperial destroyers like angry wasps. The Empire's weapons couldn't track targets so small and fast. Within minutes, both escort ships were dead in space, their engines destroyed by the drone strikes. "Cargo ships are surrendering," Reed announced with satisfaction. This was the Ghost Fleet's real mission. Not just destroying Imperial ships, but capturing their technology and supplies. Each seized cargo ship taught humans more about Imperial tech, making Earth's forces even stronger. Back at the secret base on Jupiter's moon Europa, Admiral Wells reviewed the latest reports. In just 1 week, the Ghost Fleet had destroyed 30 Imperial warships and captured 15 cargo vessels. More importantly, they'd done it without losing a single human ship. Another success from Captain Stone, General Brown reported. "The cargo ships were carrying new shield generators. Our engineers are already taking them apart to study." Wells nodded. "And the prisoners?" "Talking freely. They're shocked by our technology. Seems the Empire told them we were primitive savages. Finding out differently has adjusted their attitudes." The captured Imperial crews had indeed been surprised. They'd expected Earth to be an easy target. Instead, they found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to appear and disappear at will, striking without warning and vanishing before reinforcements could arrive. On her ship, Captain Stone prepared for their next mission. The Shadow's crew worked with quiet efficiency, their movements practiced and precise. They had trained for years for this war, hidden from the galaxy's eyes. "Message from Command," Reed announced. "Imperial fleet spotted near Saturn. They're trying to set up a base in the rings." "Not in our solar system. They won't," Stone replied. "Alert the other ships. We'll show them why they call us the Ghost Fleet." The Shadow and 5 other stealth ships moved into position. The Imperial fleet, thinking they were safe among Saturn's rings, had no idea they were being watched. Stone studied their formation through advanced sensors. "They're learning," she noted. "Tighter formation, overlapping shields, but they still can't detect us." "Their shields are stronger too," Reed added. They've modified them after our last attacks. Stone smiled. Then we'll modify our attack. Launch the new torpedoes. The torpedoes, developed using captured Imperial technology combined with human innovation, phased through the enemy shields as if they weren't there. The Imperial ships, so confident in their improved defenses, never stood a chance. 5 enemy ships disabled, Reed reported. 2 destroyed when they tried to power up their hyperdrives. Stone watched as her crews began boarding the disabled ships. Each capture made Earth stronger. Each victory taught them more about their enemy. The Empire had expected to find primitive humans using simple rockets and basic weapons. Instead, they found a species that had hidden its true power, waiting for the day they would need it. Send word to Admiral Wells, Stone ordered. Tell him Phase 3 can begin. The Empire's shown us everything they have. Now it's time to show them what we can really do. In the darkness of space, the Ghost Fleet continued its work. Silent, invisible, unstoppable. The Empire was learning a hard lesson. Never underestimate humanity. The war room deep inside Mount Rainier buzzed with activity as Admiral Wells launched Operation Phantom Strike. Holographic displays showed hundreds of Imperial supply lines stretching across space like red threads. One by one, these lines began to vanish as human forces struck. Report from the front. General Brown announced. Our AI warfare systems have cracked their latest encryption. We can read all their communications now. Wells studied the massive tactical display. The Empire's supposed technological advantage was crumbling. Their mighty warships, once thought invincible, were being outsmarted by human combat AIs that could think and adapt millions of times faster than organic brains. Show me Alpha Centauri sector, he ordered. The display zoomed in to Earth's nearest stellar neighbor. The Empire had established a major supply base there, thinking the 4 light-years of distance would keep it safe from the primitive humans. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Captain Stone's Ghost Fleet appeared from nowhere, surrounding the Imperial base. But this time, they weren't alone. Behind them came Earth's first wave of newly built warships, each one incorporating captured and improved Imperial technology. All ships execute attack pattern Delta. Stone commanded from the shadow. Show them what humans can do with their own technology. The battle that followed would later be known as the Breaking of Centauri. Human ships, combining Imperial shield technology with Earth's stealth systems, proved unstoppable. The Imperial base's defenses, designed to stop head-on attacks, were useless against enemies they couldn't see or target. Enemy ships launching, reported First Officer Reed. 40. No, 50 Imperial warships. Stone smiled. Just as we predicted. Launched the hunter-killer drones. Thousands of small, AI-controlled drones swarmed out from the human ships. These weren't the simple drones from earlier battles. These were new weapons, built using everything humans had learned about Imperial technology. They slipped through shield gaps that Imperial sensors couldn't even detect, striking with surgical precision. In the base's command center, the Imperial commander watched in horror as his ships died in space. The humans weren't just winning. They were doing it with frightening efficiency. Each attack targeted vital systems. Each strike calculated for maximum damage with minimum weapon use. Sir, his aide reported, panic in his voice. They're hacking our ship controls. We're losing everything. One by one, Imperial ships went dark as human AI systems invaded their computers. The Empire's digital defenses, which had protected them for centuries, were being torn apart by human programs that evolved and adapted with every passing second. Back on Earth, Wells received the victory report. Alpha Centauri is secure, sir. 53 Imperial ships captured or destroyed. No human casualties. It wasn't just a victory, it was a massacre. The Empire's mighty fleet had been defeated without a single human life lost. Their own technology, improved by human innovation, had been used against them. Send the captured ships back to Europa base, Wells ordered. Let our engineers see what else we can learn from them. In space, Captain Stone walked through the captured Imperial Command Center. The alien corridors, once intimidating, now seemed almost primitive compared to human advancements. "Search their databases," she ordered her crew. "The Empire's about to learn another human trait. We learn from our enemies." Within hours, human engineers were taking apart the captured Imperial technology. Each new discovery was immediately shared with Earth's factories, which adapted and improved the designs. What had taken the Empire centuries to develop, humans were rebuilding and enhancing in days. Message from Command. Reed reported to Stone. "Operation Phantom Strike is moving to Phase 2. We're taking the fight to Imperial space." Stone looked out at the stars through the captured base's viewport. The Empire had thought humans were trapped in their own solar system, barely able to reach their moon. Now, human ships were preparing to strike at the heart of Imperial space. "Send word to all ships," she ordered. "The hunted have become the hunters. It's time to show the galaxy why you don't start a war with humanity." The war was entering a new phase. The Empire had started this fight thinking they were the superior force. Now, they were about to learn just how wrong they had been. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were about to bring the war to the Empire's doorstep. On the Imperial capital world of Prime, panic spread through the High Command. Reports of defeats arrived faster than they could be processed. The supposedly primitive humans weren't just defending their system anymore. They were attacking Imperial space with terrifying efficiency. "Another fleet lost in the Orient sector," reported General Max of the Empire's forces. His metallic skin had lost its usual shine, dulled by stress and fear. "The humans, they didn't even fire a shot. They just released something they call nanites, and our ships, they just stopped working." Supreme Commander Harris, leader of all Imperial military forces, slammed his fist on the golden table. "Impossible. How can these primitives defeat our greatest weapons without firing a shot?" A hologram appeared in the center of the room. It was Admiral Wells, his image broadcast simultaneously to every Imperial command center across the galaxy. The humans had broken through their most secure communications channels as if they weren't even there. "This is your final warning," Wells said calmly. "Surrender now, and we will show mercy. Continue fighting, and we will be forced to demonstrate our full capabilities." Harris sneered at the image. "You dare threaten us? We still have thousands of ships. We will burn your world too." Wells raised his hand, cutting him off. "Very well. You leave us no choice. Captain Stone, proceed with the demonstration." In that moment, across Imperial space, 3 entire fleets of Imperial warships simply shut down. The nanite weapons, microscopic robots that could eat through Imperial tech like acid, had been secretly planted weeks ago. At Wells's signal, they activated. "Status report," Harris demanded. "We've lost contact with the 3rd, 7th, and 12th fleets," Max reported, his voice shaking. "Over 600 ships, just gone dark. No damage, no explosions. They just stopped." On her ship, Captain Stone watched the Imperial fleets drift helplessly in space. The nanites had been her idea. Why destroy ships when you could capture them intact? Each disabled vessel would be analyzed, its technology absorbed into humanity's growing arsenal. "Begin recovery operations," she ordered, "and prepare the next batch of nanites." Back on Prime, the Imperial High Command was falling apart. Some generals wanted to surrender, others demanded they fight to the last ship. The Empire, used to being the strongest force in the galaxy, didn't know how to handle defeat. "Sir," Max reported to Harris, "we're getting reports from our client species. The traders, the builders, even the warrior clans, they're all declaring independence. They say the Empire is finished." Harris watched his mighty empire crumbling. Centuries of control, maintained through superior technology and military might, were ending because they had underestimated one species, one world they had thought would be an easy conquest. In Earth's command center, Wells received the reports with grim satisfaction. The nanite strikes were 100% successful, General Brown reported. Our recovery teams are already aboard the disabled ships. The Empire's best technology is now ours. Wells nodded. And the political situation? The Empire is breaking apart. Their client species are rebelling. Their supply lines are cut. Their best ships are either destroyed or disabled. They're finished. They just don't know it yet. On her ship, Stone prepared for the final phase. The Shadow and its fleet had proven that humanity's approach to warfare, combining stealth, AI, and captured technology, was superior to the Empire's brute force tactics. Message from an Imperial destroyer, Captain, Reed reported. They're requesting permission to defect. They say others want to join them. Stone smiled. This was another human trait the Empire hadn't counted on. The ability to show mercy to defeated enemies. Many Imperial crews, seeing the difference between human and Imperial leadership, were choosing to switch sides. Tell them permission granted, she ordered. And let the others know. We accept all who want to build a better galaxy. The Empire had started this war thinking they were invincible. Now they were learning that their greatest mistake wasn't just attacking humanity. It was assuming that superior technology alone meant superior civilization. As more Imperial ships surrendered or were disabled by nanites, the message spread across the galaxy. The Empire was falling, and in its place, something new was rising. Something led by the humans they had so foolishly underestimated. The end was approaching, and everyone knew it. The only question was, would the Empire surrender, or would they force humanity to demonstrate even more of their hidden powers? The Imperial capital world of Prime hung like a jewel in space, its golden cities visible even from orbit. But today, those cities trembled as human warships appeared in the sky. Operation Final Dawn had begun. Admiral Wells stood on the bridge of Earth's newest flagship, the UEA's Avenger. Built using everything humans had learned from captured Imperial technology, it was more advanced than anything the Empire had ever seen. All fleets report ready, General Brown announced. Ghost Fleet is in position. Captain Stone reports their stealth systems are holding. Wells looked at the tactical display. 500 human warships had surrounded Prime. The Empire's last defensive fleet, 300 ships, stood between them and the capital. It would be their final battle. Send the message, Wells ordered. On every screen and communications device across Prime, Wells's voice rang out. This is your last chance to surrender. Your empire is broken. Your allies have abandoned you. End this now, or we will be forced to take your capital by force. Supreme Commander Harris' response came quickly. Never. Prime has never fallen. Our defenses are impenetrable. Our weapons will burn your fleet from the sky. Wells sighed. Very well. Captain Stone, you may proceed. The Ghost Fleet struck first. 20 stealth ships appeared inside Prime's defensive formation, their improved nanite weapons already deploying. Before the Imperial ships could react, 30 of their vessels went dark, their systems eaten away from the inside. Imperial fleet is responding, Brown reported. They're launching fighters. Just as expected, Wells nodded. Release the combat drones. Thousands of AI-controlled drones swarmed from the human ships. Unlike the simple drones from earlier battles, these were the pinnacle of human engineering. Each one carried multiple weapon systems and advanced combat AI that could outthink any organic pilot. The space around Prime erupted in chaos. Imperial fighters, flown by living pilots, couldn't match the impossible maneuvers of the human drones. The drones dodged energy beams that should have hit them, predicted enemy movements before they happened, and struck with deadly precision. On the Shadow, Captain Stone watched her tactical display with satisfaction. Enemy fleet is in disarray, she reported to Wells. Moving to Phase 2. The Ghost Fleet's stealth ships began their real mission, slipping through gaps in Prime's planetary shield. The Empire never realized that their impenetrable defense had weaknesses that human sensors could detect. Ground teams deployed, Stone reported, moving to disable planetary defense grid. In Prime's golden cities, panic spread as human drop pods landed. Elite human soldiers, wearing powered armor that made them nearly invisible, began capturing key military installations. The Empire's ground forces found themselves fighting an enemy they couldn't see, using tactics they'd never encountered. "Sir," Brown called out, "Imperial Palace is sending out a signal. They're requesting terms of surrender." But Supreme Commander Harris wasn't giving up. From his bunker deep beneath the palace, he activated Prime's last defense, a massive energy weapon that could destroy entire fleets. "Let's see your precious stealth ships survive this," he snarled, pressing the firing control. Nothing happened. "Looking for this?" Captain Stone's voice came through his speakers. A human strike team had already captured the weapons control center. They'd been there for hours, waiting and watching. In orbit, the battle was ending. The Imperial fleet, cut off from command and surrounded by superior forces, began surrendering in groups. Human ships moved into position around the planet, their weapons ready but not firing. "Capital is secure," Stone reported. "Ground teams have captured all major military installations. Imperial leadership is in custody." Wells nodded. The victory was complete, but he took no joy in it. "Minimal casualties on both sides," he noted, "just as planned." Human ships landed in Prime's great squares. But instead of conquering soldiers, they'd brought medical teams and aid workers. This was another lesson humanity wanted to teach: how to win not just the war, but the peace that followed. In his cell, Harris watched in disbelief as humans helped his people, treated their wounded, and maintained order without violence. "I understand," he told his guards. "You've won. Why show mercy?" The guard smiled. "Because that's what makes us human. We can be your worst enemy or your strongest ally. You chose which one you got. Now you'll learn why being our ally is better." The war was over. Humanity had not just defeated the Empire, they had revolutionized warfare itself. And now, they would revolutionize peace. 1 year after the fall of Prime, the galaxy was a very different place. In the great hall of what was once the Imperial Palace, representatives from 100 worlds gathered. Today marked the founding of the Galactic Council, where all species would have an equal voice. Admiral Wells, now serving as Earth's representative, stood at the podium. The same room where Imperial commanders had once planned humanity's destruction now hosted the galaxy's first true democracy. "We gather here not as conquerors and conquered," Wells began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber, "but as equals. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins." Captain Stone, standing guard near the entrance, watched the proceedings with pride. Her ghost fleet, once the terror of Imperial forces, now served as peacekeepers, protecting trading routes and responding to calls for aid across the galaxy. "The humans have surprised us again," said former Commander Ross, now serving as his people's representative. "We thought they would crush us like we tried to crush them. Instead, they helped us rebuild." The changes across former Imperial space were dramatic. Human technology, no longer hidden, was shared freely with peaceful worlds. The nanites that had once disabled warships now helped clean polluted planets. Combat drones were reprogrammed for search and rescue missions. "Status report," General Brown told Wells during a break in the proceedings. "The last Imperial holdouts in the Carina sector have surrendered. The war is officially over." Wells nodded. "And the reconstruction efforts?" "Ahead of schedule. The former Imperial worlds are adapting well to their independence. Our educational programs are helping them build their own governments. The trade networks are stronger than ever." In orbit around Prime, the UES Shadow underwent a refit. Captain Stone walked through her ship's corridors, noting the changes. Weapon systems were being converted for scientific research. Stealth technology was being adapted to help ships navigate dangerous regions of space. "It's strange. First Officer Reed commented as they inspected the changes. "A year ago, we were fighting for survival. Now we're teaching astronavigation to Imperial Academy students." Stone smiled. "That's the real victory. Not defeating them, but showing them a better way." Back in the council chamber, Wells introduced the Galactic Constitution, based on the best elements of human democracy, but adapted for a multi-species civilization. It guaranteed rights and responsibilities for all sentient beings. "Let the record show," he announced, "that former Imperial worlds will have the same rights as any other. We are not here to rule, but to help everyone rule themselves." Former Supreme Commander Harris, watching from his rehabilitation center, finally understood. "They could have destroyed us," he told his therapist. "Instead, they taught us. We thought we were superior because of our technology. They showed us that true civilization isn't about weapons or ships. It's about how you treat others." The changes spread beyond politics. Human innovation, combined with alien technology, solved problems that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. Clean energy replaced polluting Imperial power systems. Medical advances helped species that had suffered under Imperial rule. "Look at this," General Brown showed Wells a report. "Former Imperial scientists working with human teams have developed a way to terraform dead worlds. They're already planning to restore planets damaged in the old Empire's wars." As the council session ended, representatives from 100 worlds signed the new constitution. The former Empire, once ruled by force, was becoming a cooperative of free worlds. "We have a lot of work ahead," Wells told Stone as they watched the signing ceremony. "Some worlds still don't trust each other. Old hatreds don't die easily. But they're learning," Stone replied. "Every day, more of them understand what we tried to tell them from the start, that working together is better than fighting." The galaxy was entering a new age. Humanity, once dismissed as primitives, had shown that true strength lies not in weapons or conquest, but in wisdom and compassion. "We warned them to run," Wells mused, remembering the war's beginning. "Instead, they forced us to fight. But in the end, we taught them something more important than fear. We taught them hope." As the new Galactic Council ended its first session, ships from 100 worlds rose into prime sky. Among them, the Ghost Fleet patrolled silently, no longer hunting enemies, but protecting the peace they had helped create. The Empire was gone. In its place, something better had risen. And humanity, the species that had been dismissed as primitive, now led the galaxy not through force, but through example.